So again, that they started that like in '94, the new
Yeah.
generation. So this is like the second year of it. Before we just get into it, what did you think of the new generation? Me personally, Hogan was really important to WWF. you know,
Yeah. And in that video, if you didn't notice, it ended with Rowdy Piper. Not new, not part of the new
no,
generation.
no. But I think that in this period of time, the World Wrestling Federation is, they got through the steroid scandal. Hulk Hogan's gone. They don't want to have the real steroid looking wrestlers. They're trying to move on from that. They're focusing on the smaller wrestlers. Physiques, because obviously we're going to talk about Mabel, we're going to talk about Diesel, we're going
Right.
to talk about Bam Bam Bigelow. So when we say smaller wrestlers, we just meant not like the bulked up dudes like
Can
Hogan
you
and
pass a
Warrior,
drug test? That's it.
essentially. So, but no, let's get into this pay per view. A lot of interesting stuff. Doc Hendrix and Vince McMahon are calling this pay per view. What did you think of this combination? I can't recall Doc Hendrix doing commentary on too many of these. Obviously, he's Michael Hayes of the Freebirds. I did not know that. I didn't know who Michael Hayes was at this time. I knew him as Doc Hendrix. What did you think of Vince and Doc together?
I see what they're going for. It doesn't really work for me. Doc is just not good at that. Well, what's his name? His real name,
Michael Hayes.
Michael Hayes, is just not good at it. I think by 1996, like by uh, the Royal Rumble, they realized that, and he starts getting away from there. And he's doing like the interviews that person, that woman, I don't even know her name, who pops
I'm
up a
already
bunch of times in this
blanking.
paper. Yeah,
I do remember her from
Mrs. No
'95.
Name Tag is popping up all over this pay per view.
There's nothing I'm seeing on the Wikipedia page. I forget her name. I want to say maybe it was Emily or something. If when anybody's watching this back, if you know, put it in the comments. This is the era of Todd Pettengill. Yeah, so you got Doc Hendricks and Vince McMahon. I was looking back, because when I first started watching wrestling, Vince would be in there. Obviously, I started with Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby Heenan, but Vince would do commentary too.
Yep.
And I didn't really have as much of a problem with him until they got rid of him. And then I realized, ooh, I didn't really enjoy him on commentary.
Yeah, he's bad. He's, oh, I gotta talk like this, like now how Tony Khan talks when he talks at wrestling. Like it's that
Oh
weird,
my
like up and
God.
down.
You know,
Like as if
he
you're
just,
playing action figure voice.
yeah, I'm not sure why Vince was the comment, why he was doing that. Obviously, he could hire the best people. He probably, I guess he just wanted to be on TV. And that's what a lot of people, as a kid, I didn't make the connection. He was the owner.
Yeah,
Of the
maybe it
world,
was to save money. I couldn't trust wrestlers at the time. Who knows? Like, Doc Hendricks or Michael Hayes at this point. He's only like 33, 34, so he's been in the business. But he's even doing the Michael Hayes there. When you see him a couple times, he'll go, like that
yeah,
little.
because he's going to interrupt a few things, and we'll kind of talk about that.
Yeah.
Let's get into the matches, right? On the pre-show, I guess, right away, and they did have this on the Peacock edition. This is the best photo I could find that I could save the computer. It's Savio Vega IRS. Savio, in this version of the tournament, you only have to win. You had some of the other the quarterfinals on Raw or Superstars or whatever,
Yeah.
except for this match. I think someone was hurt.
Razor Ramon
Razor
gets hurt.
Ramon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
Razor's not
qualified originally.
wrestling.
He originally
Okay.
qualified over Jacob Blue, gets hurt. This is the replacement match. And they will mention to you a million times in this pay-per-view, he's clear to compete, but not in multiple matches. And he's a guy who will go for multiple matches in a tournament.
Yeah, that was kind of strange, but Savio Vega gets the win. Nothing really to write home about. Um, let's just get right into this. This is a yay, nay, or meh to you, and that's what we're gonna be doing this week. Yay, nay, or meh.
Yeah, this is a meh. I mean, it gets the point. It's quick, something to just, well, the fans are filing in. And if you're a Coliseum home video owner, you got to see it. Meh, not the worst.
I'm just gonna say nay.
Yeah.
Nothing. It was hard to pay attention to because I really just didn't care. Um, this is one of the most unpopular pay-per-views like ever.
It's listed in the
Uh,
top 10 worst WWE pay-per-views of all time. So
Yeah, it's they're in a weird WWF is in a very weird place in 1995, and
It's
I
just
can't say
and not to get too crazy into it, Dan. It is a weird place, but they don't lack talent. They just don't know how to book anything in this time period. They have a ton of talent, but don't know what to do.
well, they made a lot of people heels just for the sake of it, like random heel turns. Mabel's one. We're going to talk about him.
Yep,
British Bulldog turns heel this year. I think his eventually kind of did work out,
yep,
but a lot of like your traditional baby faces are just turning heel just because.
because it was cool to
Um,
do. Yeah,
like almost like they felt like they didn't have enough heels, but I feel like they did.
yeah.
Um, that's going to get us into the first match of the tournament on pay per view: Savio Vega versus Yokozuna. Little Yoko there, part of the bloodline. Didn't know that growing up. I really thought Yokozuna was Japanese. I had no idea the history of that. Mike Chioda is the referee, as you can see. Razor Ramon's in his corner. Jim Cornette in the corner of Yokozuna. Yoko is a year removed almost from being the World Wrestling Federation champion, who was like, he had almost a year run with that title. Um, Surprising to see him go out in the first round. Savio gets the win here. What did you think of this match?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a match, that's for sure. You know, the count out is booking to try to protect him, but then it's like, why even have him in the pay per view match? Like, why even put him in this tournament? Like, he beat Lex Luger to get here. Why is he getting
Which is,
counted out to Savio Vega?
and again, that's a that when you look at King of the Ring qualifying matches, right? Or I guess that was a quarterfinal match. Maybe they just started with the quarterfinals.
Yeah, no, this is yeah. They start with the quarterfinals, right? You know, that's and he beats him on Monday Night Raw, and it's a count out too. Yokozuna won by count out against Lex Luger, moves into a match where he gets counted out.
It's
There's
like
some
Herb Abrams
shenanigans out
booking.
there. Yeah, it's just they're like, okay, Savio needs to get by. You know, Savio needs to go through in the tournament, but we don't want to hurt Yoko. But Yoko looks slow and out of shape here. Like he was always a big guy, but he just looks a little out of it. You know what I mean?
And at this point, he's the tag champs. Owen Hart's on the hotline during the match.
Yeah, because he
Um,
didn't qualify because him and Bulldog went to a 50-minute draw, which allowed Luger and Yokozuna to wrestle to get into the tournament.
Bizarre,
Bizarre booking.
bizarre. Um, so anyway, Savio Vega moves on, and they're really feeling like they're pushing Savio Vega in this pay per view as the replacement of Razor Ramon.
They're giving you
Um,
that Rocky feeling. Is what they're trying to do. We're in Philadelphia. Let's give you that Rocky type of feeling moment, that momentum.
Yay, nay, or meth. This match is 8 minutes and 24 seconds.
This is a
Count
nay for
out.
me. This is a nay
This
for
is
me. This is bad.
also
This is bad booking.
this is a nay. It's funny they're protecting Yokozuna at this point. It's going to get to a point where they don't seem to care about Yokozuna within a year from now.
Yeah,
Um, but that's going to get us to our next match in the. This is the quarterfinals, right? Yeah.
this is the
No,
semifinals.
semifinal. Um,
No, this is the quarterfinals.
the
You're right. The
quarterfinals.
semifinals get iffy because there is that issue that happens that we're gonna get to. This is the
Okay.
quarterfinals.
All right. So now you have. Yeah, I think I got that confused. Now you have the Roadie, who they are the reference. I think they did say Road Dog at one point in this, and he's not the Road Dog yet. Versus what will eventually become Hardcore Holly, Bob Sparkplug Holly. And this was about the best picture I could find. I could save. Um, you got Jack Doan in there. What do we think of this match?
This is the first time I started to notice like the crowd, some of the ECW people,
Same. Yep.
in this crowd. This match was not terrible. Some interference a little bit with Jeff Jarrett and stuff like that, but it was cool to go see them because you know what they're going to become, and and you can see that they have the abilities there. I think calling him the Road Dog by accident, that's another nickname for someone who's a roadie. They're on the road, they're a road dog. You know, um, I thought it's just funny because again, Bob Holly beats Mantar, Roadie beats Doink the Clown, and we'll get to other matches where other qualifying matches are like, who's booking this? Why are they even getting these shots at this? Overall, the match was entertaining for me though.
Yeah, this is the first match that I noticed like fan Hall of Famers. If there was a fan Hall of Famer, you have The guys that wore like the Hawaiian type shirts from ECW, the ECW hat guy.
Yep.
There's like one fan in between him, and then it's Vlad and his buddy there. And if you know who Vlad is, he's the WWF super fan who was at every single pay per view. It felt like
Yep.
when we were growing up. The WWE even made a documentary on him. So it's like you see very famous fans in the front row there, which was pretty cool. The ECW guys, like I thought they would be hating everything that was going on. They seem to be somewhat into the pay per view. I mean, I guess they bought front row tickets, so
Yeah, no, and they don't like try to do anything, and that's maybe ECW is just not big enough. I mean, we will hear chants later in this pay per view, but overall, I think they're just happy to be there. They're right. They're just happy to see good wrestling, not that bloody trash in ECW.
oh geez, oh geez. Well, we'll say this: the ECW is going to come up in this pay per view, and we'll get to that. But yes, that's where I first started noticing the fans. Yay, nay, or meh.
This is a yay for me. I'd go back and watch this again.
Um, this is a meh for me. It's not. I did nothing great, nothing bad.
It's not your
Just
style. There's no
you
blood and
know,
guts.
well, that's not. Yeah, I wouldn't go as far as say that's my style. I'm not, but um, all right, it's going to take us into the next, again, quarter final match. They definitely messed that up. So they actually did, yeah, because Savio had to wrestle 3 matches that night. So yes, yeah, okay. Um, yeah,
This
you had
isn't
to.
this isn't the part, and this you correct me if I'm wrong. Is this also the break where they do um the Bob Backlund thing, or is that later?
I think it is the Bob Backlund thing, and I'm trying to remember even what happened there.
He did like a 6-minute promo of going around Philadelphia campaigning. just
Yeah, they were
just
having Bob
yelling at people.
Backlund. Yeah, Backlund had turned heel at the end of '94 when he
Yep.
got the title. He started going crazy, and then yeah, they had him running for president, which
He's
was
eating cheesesteaks everywhere. And it's just like
yeah.
that for me is a yay. I know I've seen other people talk about this pay per view and they're ripping this apart. This I was laughing the whole time this thing was happening because the fact that it's happening on a pay per view is ridiculous, but the fact that he's doing all this stuff is ridiculous.
Mr. Bob Backlund is what he would eventually be called.
Hmm.
Yeah, and so I guess I want to correct myself. The quarterfinals were part of this pay per view, so those
Yeah,
were qualifying matches.
yeah,
They eventually do take the tournament, and they get rid of. They do the quarterfinals on Raw and Superstar. So I want to
too
correct myself
faster.
on that. Wish I could edit that. Um, that's going to take us to Kama, the Supreme Fighting Machine, versus Shawn Michaels. There's a nice little backbreaker type thing there that Kama has Michaels in. And this match is going to end in a time limit draw at 15 minutes. Um, Shawn Michaels is recently a babyface, right? Because he started '95 as a heel and then was
Yep.
attacked by Sid the next night after WrestleMania. So this is the start of HBK and his babyface run. Behind the scenes, I think this is where Shawn. This is definitely the year that around the year the Click started becoming a thing. Um, but what are your thoughts on this match?
Well, first, Shawn Michaels has that interview before the match, and if he's a face, no one told him the way he's talking and acting. You could just tell. The more the match goes on, you can just see that Shawn Michaels is kind of checked out. Like he's just like all over the place. His facial expressions are crazy. Um, 15-minute time limit, stupid. You already had shenanigans in another match in the quarterfinals, so why would we do that here? The match itself was okay. I mean, Shawn Michaels at this point could wrestle a wet blanket and get a 3 stars or whatever out of it. Um, I didn't think it was the worst, wasn't the best. I don't understand what it does for either one. And then to try to protect Shawn Michaels, he rolls him up and pins him, but doesn't get it in before the last second. So there's that shenanigans protecting him, but then it hurts Kama that Kama couldn't kick out. It's stupid. It's just dumb.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think that they that's a great 15-minute match.
No.
Like their styles don't really go together that well. Um, but yeah, it ends in a draw, that means whoever wins the Mabel Undertaker match is going to the final. Yay, nay, or meh?
I'll never give peak Shawn Michaels anything more than yeah. This is a good. This is fine for me. You know, it did its part. I don't like the draw. I mean, Kama's gonna come back later. I just, for what this pay per view is, this is a yay.
Yeah, it's an A for me. Didn't really hold my attention trying to watch it, and then it ends in a draw, and it's and I knew that was going to happen, on the rewatch. But yeah, I mean, this is going to turn into like peak Shawn Michaels, right? At SummerSlam, he's going to have the rematch from the ladder match with Razor Ramon. So I mean, he's picking up steam because I think he wins the Intercontinental title from Jeff Jarrett at the next In Your House.
Probably it's just a shame that this match, like Shawn Michaels beat King Kong Buddy to get here, Kama beat Duke the Dumpster Drosy. So like you had Owen Hart and what's his name, Davey Boy Smith are not booked in this pay per view, and either one of them could have fit in that spot and gone to a half an hour or 15-minute draw and still done what you needed to do. So I just understand why you kept better talent off. Maybe because Kama is focused on his upcoming run that's going to happen to lead to SummerSlam. But again, you have talent that you had here not being presented. Could have been a better match for them and still did the same thing.
I think they wanted to have someone from the corporation in the tournament. It's the only thing I could think of.
Yeah, I mean, Shawn Michaels beat someone from the corporation to get here. I mean, the corporation's all over this pay per view. I mean, Ted DiBiase comes out multiple times with multiple people.
Yeah, I mean Ted DiBiase's all over this thing. I also want to point out one thing that I didn't mention is the pay per view before, I believe, was the first In Your House,
Yep,
and In Your Houses were shorter pay per views. They were cheaper. This is the
2 hours.
start of monthly pay per views. So anything before 1995, it was just the big ones. Royal Rumble, King of the Ring, which was newer,
Hmm.
SummerSlam, Survivor Series, Mania. So not in that order, but yeah, this is the start of monthly pay-per-views. All right, it's going to get us to Mabel versus The Undertaker. Couldn't find a great picture on this. This is Mabel, I think, pinning The Undertaker here. If that is The Undertaker, I might have the wrong picture there, but
That looked like
that
the
looked like
Undertaker.
Savio Vega's boot, so I might have had the wrong
Yeah,
picture there. Undertaker has the cool entrance, right? Um, this match, there's a couple times where you think Mabel's got it, won. I believe there is interference from Kama
yep.
to kind of progress, I guess, Undertaker and Kama, because the feud because at one point Kama steals that urn,
Yeah, he melts
breaks
into
the
a
chain.
chain around WrestleMania.
Yeah. Oh, so he'd already done that.
He already done that.
So
They're
this
building
is
to the
weird.
feud where there's a casket match at SummerSlam.
Okay. Okay. So Mabel gets the win here. Obviously, he had just turned heel not too long before this. I don't know if Ben on a mission
Never gonna catch
did a
on.
heel turn, or where this is gonna go. Um, I think this is the first match of the pay per view that I started really being like, okay, I can pay attention to this. And I'm not a huge like Viscera Mabel fan. The Undertaker's entrance got me hooked. I give this a yay.
For this match, there's multiple things that I had to point out. One, the Mabel getting the interview down the aisle. What are we doing? Like, what are we doing? Like, we know he's a bad guy. Why are we having this part? Then the funny part with Vince on commentary and saying that I bet the Smoking Guns wish that Men on the Mission were more into a tag team match to fight. You're the one booking this, so why are you talking about this? And then this is the first time in all the matches that I think I've noticed a lot of seat fillers. If you haven't noticed, they're a sea of people all wearing that blue logo with the King of the Ring on there.
Yes, I
Like,
did notice that.
I'm sitting going, okay, either everyone's buying this shirt, or they had a whole bunch of people that got up at one point and they just said to flood it with people, and they just had to have the same shirt so they didn't like look out of place. But this whole match is, I can't stop noticing this. Um, it's a nay for me. This is not good. It's a trainer from the start. Another funky finish in this quarterfinal match. So only one match had a real finish in the quarterfinals. Um, again, Undertaker could have been at the bottom, and then you could have had Undertaker get to the final and had the shenanigan. I just don't know why we're doing this here. With Mabel beating Adam Bomb on pay-per-view last month to get here. And then Jeff Jarrett has to face the Undertaker in the first round when the Roadie is facing Doink the Clown. I just don't understand your booking.
I don't. Yeah, where's the seating on this?
No idea.
Not that I think they do that. I watched this match and I thought to myself, just watching the Undertaker's entrance, why is he not the World Wrestling Federation champion?
It doesn't make any sense because Diesel's a face and Undertaker's a face. They don't want them touching because it's still that weird time period. I just don't.
Well, Diesel kind of came out of nowhere to be the champion. I know he had the IC title, but
Yep.
Backlund takes the title off of Hart, and then Diesel beats Backlund at Madison Square Garden at the end of '94 in like 15 seconds.
Yep.
And I remember as a kid being like, I didn't get it. I was like, where did this? All of a sudden, he's just a baby face.
Yeah, I mean, they slowly got him there over the fall. You can see the backlash with Shawn Michaels kind of to like feel like he's taking his spotlight. So I think there was a slow progression. It's not great. It's 1994, so I'm what, 6? I wouldn't have known this at the time. It's all going back and rewatching stuff. But it makes no sense because for some reason Vince McMahon goes out for beers after WrestleMania 11 and realizes that Shawn Michaels is a clear babyface. So you could have did that babyface turn with him earlier and had Diesel been the monster heel, which he was booked for in all of '94.
Yeah, it's very weird. They changed his theme music. We'll get into that. But I kind of looked at this. I was like, I think Undertaker at this point in time is your number one baby face in the company.
By
Oh,
far.
well, Bret Hart's there too. But I mean, like, I just kind of thought to myself, I'm like, the Undertaker is losing to Mabel at King of the Ring, who in this time period, it's very rare throughout his career to see Undertaker take a pinfall loss.
Right. I mean, it was a
So
shenanigans pinfall loss.
it was, but I'm like, I don't know. If you look at like some of the losses he's had, like through his career, like Vladimir Kozlov beat the Undertaker clean. Um,
Yeah.
it it it's very weird some of the losses for a guy that doesn't lose that much. Some of the people that have beat him.
Yeah, I just don't think Vince realized what he had, even at this time. Like, he knows he's a good wrestler, he knows he's a good worker and all that stuff, and everything else. But I don't think he realized the character that he had built until like next year, the year after, when he goes, okay. But and again, he's still young. Undertaker's still really young here. He's only what, 3 or 4 years removed from this first title run in
He was
'91.
26 when he won his first title. This is 4 years later. He's 30.
Yeah, so he's coming into his prime. So could just be that he's just like, oh, I don't know. Maybe when he tombstone Hulk Hogan and Hulk Hogan pretending he had a broken neck from taking that first bump, that it's still lingering in Vince's mind. I don't know.
It's going to be another 2 years before Taker gets that title, and then he
Right.
doesn't even hold it that long.
Hmm.
So I'm just looking at the way the crowd reacted that I'm like, why is this guy not featured? He does get main events. Don't get me wrong. I just thought
Right.
you really could have had something there at the time. I think at this point they talk about, this is something I did not remember, but they did a Hall of Fame induction. Ernie the Cat Ladd went in, George the Animal Steel, Ivan Putski, the Great Moolah. There's some other names I'm blanking on. But what it got me thinking was they were at least pushing the Hall of Fame because it'd be very random times that the Hall of Fame would be thrown into the mix until 2004 when they started doing it yearly. And they didn't televise it or anything like that.
It was a
Uh,
banquet. It wasn't even a ceremony.
yeah, it wasn't the same vibe. There were speeches and everything, but thoughts on the Hall of Fame little segment there?
I mean, it's cool. I think during this time period, they're just waiting for major like cities that they're going to attend to, that they could just get people there. Um, yeah, no, this felt, and I don't, I'm not going to say this very often in this time period when we go back to it. It felt very WCW like. That's what it felt like to me. It reminded me of like when WCW used to do that after I forget which pay per view they do it in May. That's what it reminded me of, and it felt like maybe,
Slamboree.
yeah, maybe they just saw the fact that WCW did something, so they got to do something to follow up. I don't know. That's just what it just felt out of place here.
I don't even know if fans attended it,
No, they didn't.
honestly.
It was a banquet for just WWE, and they recorded it.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's gonna get us to semifinals: Savio Vega and the Roadie. Um, I believe that's Jack Doan again. You can kind of see in the background. I know this picture's blurry, but you can see Hat Guy and his buddy, and you can see Vlad and his friend there. Um, I don't think there's much to this match to even discuss. What did you think of this?
This is them jamming Savio Vega down my throat. If I was watching this without knowing what was going to happen, I would have swore Savio Vega was winning this tournament, because this is what, the third time we're seeing him, if you count the Coliseum video match too, in under an hour and a half. Like, he's back out here again. The match was very forgetful. I watched it. I watched this whole match. I don't remember any of it. So
Yeah, Road Dog. Roadie. He's pinned 6 minutes 36 seconds. I'm gonna give this an A.
yeah, that's an A, and it doesn't even really help Savio Vega. He doesn't really get like a injury or something like that that might help protect him in the next, like, the fact that he's going to take the next match, lose. Um, yeah, no, I just watched this less than 2.5 hours ago, and I don't remember a damn thing about it.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion too, Savio Vega wasn't a bad wrestler.
No,
This was kind of a chance to, you know, do something with him, but
right?
they didn't decide to do that. And then after the match, they do an interview where Michael Hayes, Doc Hendrix, is Savio's being interviewed in Spanish, and Doc Hendrix is mocking the interview.
Yeah, that was
Um,
weird.
that's my biggest takeaway from the segment, and I didn't think that did anything for it. I thought it was just awkward, and it didn't make me hate or like Doc Hendrix. I just kind of wanted him off my television.
Yeah, and honestly, that's the story of his entire wrestling career after he left WCCW.
Yeah, I feel like if he wasn't PS Michael Hayes, like he just wasn't. I don't know. I don't know
I don't know
what
what
they
he
were
was
doing
going
with him.
for. I just, yeah, I don't know. Shock value. I don't really
It's
know.
so desperate to have him be the new heel commentator.
Yeah,
That's what it smelled like. He did not have what Bobby Heenan had. He
nothing.
did not have what Jerry Lawler had. And this is like watching this pay-per-view makes me realize why he wasn't on air very long.
Right. Yeah, it just, I don't know. Who called WrestleMania? Do you even remember who called WrestleMania 11 with him? With Vince?
Um, I'd have to go back.
Yeah, not to get on
I do
a
not
tangent, but
believe it was Doc Hendricks though. I
yeah,
don't
no,
believe
that's
it
just,
was.
Vince just tries to talk over him while he's talking, so
Their chemistry is not good.
terrible.
And to be honest, like I know you didn't like Joey. I rather listen to Joey Styles. Maybe not on a WWF pay-per-view, but
I don't
because I
know.
don't think his style would have fit.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's just not good. That's gonna get us to a match that's I will be honest. It makes you feel this is where like you remember like we were watching wrestling one time and Mike had some of his friends over that don't watch wrestling and they did like a kiss my ass match or something
yeah,
like that and they were like this is so dumb and I'm like I can't defend this. You're right. I don't enjoy this either. This is a kiss my foot match. Jerry Lawler and Bret Hart, who I will say, oh, pictures aren't working here. Oh, hold on. There we go. Jerry Lawler with a pile driver there on Bret Hart. I will say I really did enjoy this match. This rivalry started at King of the Ring 2 years ago in '93 when Bret Hart won and Lawler attacked him. And I guess the feud got so bad to kiss my foot match where Jerry was doing some really gross stuff with his feet.
yeah.
Um, Here's Bret Hart. He wins the match and literally puts his foot into Jerry Lawler's mouth, which is just
Weird. I mean,
not.
Shawn, not, Bret Hart. Bret Hart lost to Jerry the King Lawler though before, which is where he said he had to he needed to get his revenge on him, and that was where this stipulation came from, with Jerry Lawler creating the stipulation. And then Also in this match, I don't even remember, maybe you don't remember this part, but
Hakushi.
they come in there like twice and just nowhere near hitting Bret Hart and hit Jerry the King Lawler twice.
Yeah, this is also an era where they're trying to have Bret have good matches on the In Your House shows because he faces Hakushi on one of those.
Yeah, I think it's in
He
the next one.
faces Jean Lafette, whatever, PCO now.
Yep.
Just random match. They're just like, all right, Bret, go out and have a good match with someone that's underutilized.
But I thought overall Jerry the King Lawler was still pretty good in the ring, even though he's well past his prime. He's not that same Memphis guy from the late '80s, early '80s stuff like that. But he can still move. The 3 pile drivers, and then Bret Hart just pumping out right away at like 1.5, which was kind of cool. But at the same time, I was like, dude, that's technically Jerry the King Lawler's finishing move that you just just destroyed. But the match to me, I thought was on the foot part was good, entertaining, solid work. I feel like they should have got more time than let's look at this. Mabel and Undertaker got 10 minutes. Savio Vega and Yokozuna got 8 minutes. They got 9 minutes and 20 seconds. Even though the main event is 17 minutes, which is terrible. But this should have been a longer match, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to turn out to be my favorite match of the whole pay-per-view. So I definitely give it a yay. I just don't like the stipulation. It was kind of gross, but I could see where they were going with. Jerry Lawler really sells this too.
Yeah, he
Like
makes him
when
kiss
he's
his own
walking
foot.
out.
Jerry Lawler kisses his
Yeah.
own foot in this. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's like throwing up. He does throw up in a segment later. He's brushing his teeth and everything.
Yeah. The
Um,
ref also witnessed Jerry the King Lawler hit Bret Hart over the head with his boot off and just pretending like he didn't see it.
yeah, they were going to disqualify Bret for not letting go of the sharpshooter because I think that's what happened before.
Yeah, but Jerry the King Lawler could take off his boot and hit him in front of the head, in front of the ref, and it's just fine.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I did like how this. I think this finally ends the feud, and I gotta say, as a kid,
No, it's
I
not.
hate it.
It's not where it ends.
It's okay, so it does continue. I
He
I
gets
will.
he gets to Isaac Yank of DDS at SummerSlam.
Oh, that's right. That's the debut of Glenn Jacobs'
Yeah.
first character. Um, I hated Jerry Lawler in this when I was a kid. I hated Jerry the King Lawler. I really did. So he really did have heel appeal.
Yeah, he's one of the best heels on the program. He'd be a
And
perfect commentator in this point.
yeah, you could be. I think they had used him once or twice before, but I will say this: he was that heel because cool heels is only about a year away with the NWO.
Yeah.
Jerry Lawler was still that traditional heel that you hated his guts.
Yeah, you're under a year away because this is in June. So the NWO really starts in May with
Yeah.
Nash and Hall getting over there.
So yeah,
I
this is
wonder if
again.
this is the pay-per-view where Scott Hall goes, yeah, the grass is probably greener somewhere else.
Yeah, well, he wanted to get paid, but again, my favorite match of the card, probably because I was a huge Bret Hart fan at the time, and that's going to get us to the finals of the King of the Ring. And I want to point out here, this is now we're in Philadelphia, and the finals are two mid-card guys, really, that Mabel's getting pushed out of nowhere. Really, nothing was really leading to this except for turning heel, and you have Savio Vega, who that's where he was in the card, and the crowd starts chanting ECW. And this is referred to as one of the first times Vince McMahon, I think he was aware of ECW, but the first time I think he realized like they're having some impact here. And I know it's in Philly, but when you went to other places, their local brand of wrestling was not getting chanted at a pay-per-view.
Yeah, but those other local promotions weren't being ran by someone who'd been in WCW and all that. Like ECW, being a third brand, still had Paul Heyman and all these other guys. So like one, Vince McMahon is 100% aware of ECW at this point with Paul Heyman running and things like that. There's a lot of people going in and out there. Isn't this the summer too when Steve Austin goes over to ECW real quickly? Like this is like
This is right for Austin. Austin's going to sign with the WWF at the end of the year.
right. So like Vince is very much aware of it. I do think it's funny when Vince tries to play it off that they're chanting for Savio Vega when ECW sounds nothing like Savio Vega. Um, this is just I wanted to fast forward this so bad. I understand you're
Yeah,
pushing Mabel because you need someone big heel to feed to Diesel at SummerSlam. That's what we're building towards, right? It, it makes sense, and you're giving Mabel this big push, and the way to legitimize him is have him win this tournament. But when the tournament is missing everyone, it doesn't make any sense.
you have Shawn Michaels, The Undertaker. Um, who else? Okay, so you have two main event guys. You have Jeff Jarrett not even wrestling in on this pay per view.
Yeah, I can list them all off
Razor's
right now. Yeah,
Razor's hurt. You have a tag match that we're going to talk about in a second with headline. Why is
why
this
is
the
the title not on the
finals?
Yeah, why is the title one not on the line on this pay per view? But yeah, no, why is it the finals? It's just like, you had in the overall tournament, you had Yokozuna, Razor Ramon, Lex Luger, Shawn Michaels, King Kong Bundy, Undertaker, Jeff Jarrett, all established people that could have been pushed to help get to Mabel or make him legitimate. None of them make it that far. You're using Savio Vega, who is relatively new overall in the Wrestling Federation. He's not doing much for you. It's just like you could. Lex Luger is running out of a contract soon, right? He's going to end up on WCW within weeks. Why wouldn't you have Lex Luger get all the way to the finals and have Mabel beat Lex Luger?
They gave
You
up
know?
on Lex. They gave up on him, and for what reason I'll never understand. Because he's in a tag team with British Bulldog at this point. That's what he's doing. The Allied Powers or whatever they were called.
Yeah, and I mean, but you could have done something with him, like at least for the crowd would have been a pop or something. That anything else with it, but like Savio Vega is not the guy, and Savio Vega is like a quarter of his size and has no chance. It's a head scratcher from start to finish.
Well, the whole point is obviously that they're deciding we're pushing Mabel, and here's his coronation, and there's all this interference. 1, 2, 3, Kid is trying to interrupt it. Razor's trying to
Yeah.
interrupt it. Vega's trying to interrupt it because he cheated somehow to win this.
Yep.
Mo cuts a promo that's just like it's like has he ever cut a promo before? I don't know if he actually had.
He had only cut promos when singing in his past.
Well, no, Oscar was the rapper. He did it.
Oh, so then it wasn't even Mo.
So this whole coronation, and you're thinking to yourself, I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking here. And that's nothing against Mabel, but I don't understand. I don't understand. Like obviously you're trying to push a new star.
The only thing I can think of.
What reaction did he get from the crowd to decide that this is good? Because first King of the Ring, Bret Hart wins. Okay,
Yep.
established former champion. Next year, Owen wins. They're trying to push Owen Hart.
Yep.
And then 95, randomly get Mabel.
Yeah, it just doesn't really add up. Maybe they're thinking, hey, it's June 25th. It's the sun doesn't set till like 8:45 outside. Maybe they're not going to draw as well, so why don't we mail it home for this one? I don't know. All I know is in the time we were talking about this awful match, Stephanie Winnard is the person who's been interviewing these people walking down the hallway.
Okay. Well,
This gets an A
anyway,
from me, by the way. This match is this
this is
this
an A. Mabel also got a bye to the finals, so that whole story of Savio winning all these matches was irrelevant.
Yep.
I mean, it's just not good. It's just not good. It's where WWF was at the time, and it's not like they didn't have stars. They just it's almost like Tony Khan's running the company, you know.
Jeez.
Um, it's just bizarre.
It's
It's
just
just
bizarre. It's
bizarre.
just I just don't know why they mailed it home this pay-per-view.
And I guess
And
if
I'm a defender of 1995 wrestling. I don't think 1995 is as bad as you and the other
I think it's one
indie
of the
marks
worst
are.
years for WWF, and not just because I don't think it was all the horrible gimmicks. Because a lot of the gimmicks they talk about, like the Goon and Man Talk, they weren't on pay-per-views. You know,
Right.
the stars were still on it, but they have stars, and they're and again, no diss to Mabel, but just where he was, it just didn't make a lot of sense. And
Yeah, I mean
obviously,
it's just because whoever wins this tournament gets the shot at the title at SummerSlam.
And I don't even think that was even the stipulation. I think that Mabel, some other stuff happens that leads to that match. Now, you would have thought it would have been Sid and Diesel at SummerSlam, but apparently they have a match at the In Your House. We'll talk about that in a second. But
Well, that's also because, and I don't know if you know this, Sid plays in Las Vegas Softball Worlds the same week as SummerSlam in this year, so he couldn't
well,
be there.
I, it's just very, and honestly, if this worked, maybe Mabel was a bigger star later. I mean, he still was a. I mean, I forget his real name. He had passed away, unfortunately. Nelson Frazier. He he goes on to have a pretty decent career, but he's never like the headliner. But maybe if this worked, maybe we're having a different conversation in 2024. But it didn't.
Yeah, I just don't know because, like, yeah, you're right. He does have a long career in WWE. I don't know his contract status, but does he get like a contract here that's just like 10 years, like how Mark Henry was when he first started, or something like that? Because
No,
like he
he'll
doesn't do
leave.
anything.
He leaves at some point, comes back for the Ministry of Darkness.
Yeah, but did he go
Uh,
somewhere else? Like, I didn't follow his carear except for this like
Not that I know
partially
of. I
fucked
know
with
that I know that people have claimed that he was supposed to be the third man because I
No,
don't
yeah,
think he's with WWF in 1996.
maybe that's why Dave Meltzer thought he was the third man, was that he won the King of the Ring, that his stock was at the highest it'll ever be, that he's the one that would have brought the NWO together. Him as the third man would have totally worked. Just
I mean, he probably was available at the time because I'm going to say he's not at WrestleMania 12.
yeah.
He's not in WWF in 1996, so he probably was available.
WrestleMania 12 is a tough one to book though because they do have an hour and 15-minute match on that card. So like there's not much booked on that.
Honestly, I don't remember anything else about Mabel except he did the Raw Bowl. If you remember, they did the Raw
Yeah, I remember
Bowl,
that.
and
They had a tag match at WrestleMania 10. They don't win the
yeah,
title.
I'm talking
Oh
after.
yeah, after.
I don't remember anything else about him in '96. One thing we want to talk about that we skipped over is the Hardy Boys are the guys opening the
Oh
gates.
yeah,
As
that was
well.
funny.
They're probably underage at this point, to be
Yeah,
honest. But
they're probably lying about their age at this point. Yeah.
I think that they end up carrying him, or one of the people carrying him at the Raw Bowl, because that's like the only other memory I have of Mabel, besides being in SummerSlam. Um,
Yeah, I just his matches are
what?
not great, so I don't go back and watch him very often.
Yeah, it's very bizarre. I want to talk about this real quick before I forget. The Stridex Blimp is all over this pay per view. Um,
The thing used to be on every pay per view, 1995, 1996.
yeah, this is very. I think I ended up buying these when I was a teenager.
Yeah,
So
this is telling you what their target audience is. It's teenagers. So everyone comes in here and talks about 95 being bad. This is their target audience. Like you know, that's why when you get to 1998 and they do the attitude adjustment era, that's because these kids have grown up.
yeah, I mean, this thing is just all over the pay per view, and okay. I mean,
It's funny.
I don't know. It's just bizarre world.
We're gonna
Um,
see that a lot more though as we do these videos and going back and watching this time period. It's not gonna be the last time we see this blimp.
so so you have this tournament. Mabel wins, and then you get to a main event that is not for the World Wrestling Federation title. You had promos from Tatanka and Sid, and then Bam Bam and Diesel. Apparently, Diesel has some kind of elbow injury. His promos were not that good.
They were terrible.
There was nothing about Diesel even as a kid. I just wanted Bret Hart at the time, if I remember, to just get the title back.
It would have made
Um,
sense to keep the belt on him that whole year.
yeah, I don't understand what the fascination with Diesel was. Here's the main event: Diesel and Bam Bam Bigelow. Bigelow's having his babyface run after losing to Lawrence Taylor. He was kicked out of the corporation versus Tatanka and Sid. And this match is 17 minutes and 35 seconds. Woof.
And it's painful. And by the way, if you're gonna have this picture, why doesn't Ted DiBiase snipe on that picture? Why don't we get Ted in the background somewhere? Give him some love. He's running the corporation for God's sakes.
I don't know. I don't know. This match, I mean, I'm a big Bam Bam Bigelow fan, and this is his babyface run. He came out in the jacket and everything, and he had some pyro, and Diesel had some pyro. Sid is pretty over. I think Vlad's holding a sign at this pay-per-view that says Sid is the ruler of the world.
Yep.
Sid is very over. Um, I might even say Sid's the most over guy in the whole match.
With this
Um,
crowd, yes. Yeah, definitely.
you know, oh, and I gave Savio and Mabel a nay too. I think you did as well. But what do you think of this?
um, there's not much to say. It's 17 minutes long, and it feels like torture. Um, Tatanka is eventually going to take the pin. I mean, yeah,
Sid
Bam Bam
walks
Bigelow.
out.
Yeah,
Sid
Sid just leaves
leaves.
him. Just leaves him. But yet he'll still be in the corporation. I think this is the last time we see Sid for a while, actually, isn't it?
No,
Or
he
maybe he's at the
wrestles.
next
They,
pay-per-view.
they wrestle. So
The next pay-per-view.
that's what I assumed. And so they have In Your House too, and Sid faces Diesel in a lumberjack match.
Yeah.
I guess the point is now Sid can't leave.
Yeah.
Why? What?
What
I
does it
just
matter in a tag team match, anyways? I don't know. This is just. This is again, Dan. You were talking about earlier about random heel turns. This is a random face turn with Bam Bam Bigelow. Bam Bam Bigelow is not a
no. It
face.
wasn't random. He was kicked out of the. No.
I
He was
know that,
kicked out
but
of the
for
corporation for
them to just
losing to.
flip him for no reason, just because you lose to Lawrence Tabor to flip him, makes no sense. When you don't have any baby faces, you had baby
I
faces. It's just like
no. I thought that was right. That was an. It
he's
made
not a baby
sense.
face. He's not a baby face to me. I'm sorry. You have freaking tattoos on your head. You are not a baby face.
He was a babyface when he first started in WWF in the 80s.
And I disagree with it then, and I disagree with the 95.
I mean, I think him getting kicked out of the corporation makes total sense. He embarrassed them. He lost to a non-wrestler at WrestleMania. It made total sense, but
He lost to a
honest,
two-time Super Bowl champion / potential murderer.
Lawrence Taylor. I don't know
I
about
think
that one.
Lawrence Taylor has some assault issues later. I'm
The
pretty sure he
views do
does.
not reflect Let Freedom Ring on that because I don't know anything about that. But um, Bam Bam's out of the company fairly soon after this too. Um,
Yeah, he goes to East. Doesn't he go to ECW too, or does he go to WCW
yeah, I
first?
think he no, he goes to ECW, but he must have gone there in '97. I don't know what he does for like. There's a time period. I don't know how long after he leaves too. But yeah, this match just 17 minutes.
It's very long. By the way, Lawrence Taylor, not a murderer. He was only charged with uh, statutory rape and domestic violence, but not murder.
Okay, well, that's regardless. Back to the match then. Yay or nay or meh?
I'm gonna do meh because at least it built towards the next pay-per-view. At least we're building towards Sid versus Diesel. At least they're doing something. Could it have been shorter? Oh, yes, it 100% should have been shorter, especially what other matches could have used this time. But I'm not gonna say nay, and it's not enough. It's a meh. It's just
I'm gonna give it a nay. I mean, there's three potential Hall of Famers in this. I know Bam Bam's not in yet, Sid's not in, but to me, they had Hall of Fame careers. Diesel is in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, how is this not a title? Why is this a tag match? Is it because Diesel's hurt?
Megan's deals hurt. They want to get Bam Bam on the card as well. Maybe I don't know. I think you could have done like Bam Bam could have been in the tournament, Sid could have been in the tournament, and then I don't know because you're not gonna have Tatanka wrestle for the WWF title. I don't know. It must have been injury related. It has to be, right? I mean,
Tatanka's the one guy that just doesn't seem to fit in this match.
he just happens to be. This is the match where I would assume King Kong Bundy would be in,
Well, no one cared about King Kong Bundy
but
either.
he's
I
in the
don't.
corporation, right? He's in the corporation at this point.
I guess you have Kama with Undertaker, so that takes him out. But I mean, I guess I don't know. This is not good. The whole pay per view is just not really good.
It's not the worst. I've watched a lot of WCW.
I'll say that. I mean, there was entertaining parts. A scale of 1 to 10, what do you give this?
This hurts me because I am an advocate for 1995. This is a 4.5. This pay per view.
Okay, I'm gonna give it a 4. This is not something that I feel you need to go back and watch.
That's
Um,
shocking me. I thought you would have been significantly lower.
that's pretty low out of 10.
So what?
That's
So
pretty
what
low
in
out
your
of 10.
what in your scale is going to get a 1 or 2? Like
December to
mid W.
December would get like a -1.
Oh, that's not a bad pay per view. Mayhem
That's for
2000.
well, WCW 2000. Ugh, I don't know. We'll have to see when we review this, but I mean, the things that kept this pay per view alive: Bret Hart and Jerry Lawler. Having the Undertaker even on the pay per view gets it a little bit of stuff. Bam Bam in the main event. As much as I didn't like it, I like seeing Bam Bam in a high profile match, but this match was not good.
Hmm.
The fans make it pull it up a little bit.
Yep.
The fans definitely help this, but like, yeah, these are not matches I'd really want to see on pay per view. Your Intercontinental Champion is just in the corner of the roadie.
I don't understand how you have a pay per view at all that has no title defenses. Was the
That's
was the woman title also no? The women's title is still around. That gets defended at SummerSlam. There's no reason that no titles are on this pay per view.
there isn't nothing, and the women's title's not going to last much longer either.
No, no.
Um, yeah, I mean, what do you think? 1995, the direction like of W. Now, on the flip side, WCW wasn't much better. It was Hogan versus the Dungeon of Doom most that dominated it. Um,
I don't know. I've
yeah,
been recently watching 1995 WCW. It's not as bad as you would think. Because
yeah,
at least they're like, hey, we gotta get Hogan's friends on pay per view. We gotta get him in here. So what are we gonna do? At least they were smart enough to be like, we're just gonna put them in one Dungeon of Doom so that they get one segment instead of having 10 segments.
yeah. It just 95 wasn't a good year, and I do think this could have been better. Um, I think there was opportunities there, but they didn't take him for Yoko. We're not even talking about it. Yokozuna's he's not even that guy was the WWF champion a year before, and he's out in the first round. You could have had him in the finals.
Yeah, you could have. There's a lot of people that Savio Vega didn't need to be. Savio Vega's an add-in.
I mean, not for anything, but IRS is a bigger name than the Roadie at this point. He's a bigger name than Bob Holly.
I think personally, and I can't. I wasn't there, so I can't justify this. But I think they originally wanted it to be Razor to Razor get there and lose to Mabel. And when Razor got hurt and couldn't wrestle the whole thing, they said, "Oh, let's put Savio Vega in there and not think anything twice about it." And be like,
Yeah.
"Yep,
Well, I think the whole point of this pay per view. I'll even say this: if the whole pay per view, the point was to push Mabel, why was that not the main event?
yeah." Well, this is an era where the champion always been on last. I think.
Okay, but then again, too, it's like Sid. I'm not gonna lie, that crowd loved. They were hot for Sid.
Yeah.
He walks out of the match, and I get that's part of the story, but yeah, I just think it's when people criticize Vince McMahon later,